everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Em and I am here today to talk to you about all the books that I have brought home this winter. A little winter book haul, if you will. This is going to span between October and now it's currently the beginning of February. I am attempting to do a book buying ban for myself in February, so I'm not planning to add any books to my collection. Then March is just spring in my mind. I know it's not the first day of spring until most of the way through the month, but in my head, March is spring. And I have a bunch of pre-orders for March, so that'll be exciting. But we're here to talk about the books I already have, not the books I'm looking forward to. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So the first two books on the stack, all right, I'm not gonna get distracted. First two books I have are part of a series. It is book 1 and book 2 of the Sinister Summer. This is a middle grade paranormal-y series. Richard Waterpark is book 1 and Vampiric Vacation is book 2. This is a really delightful, fun, mystery and kind of paranormal series. None of my kids read this series, but my husband and I have gotten hooked and so we're the ones reading them. And I'm actually waiting for, book 3 to come from my indie bookstore. I forgot that I ordered that because there was a delay with getting it. So I don't have it yet, but it's on its way. So let's just pretend that Creepy Camp is also part of this video because it will be soon. I think if you're looking for lighthearted, kind of unfortunate, what's that series called? I just forgot what it was. Unfortunate Adventures? Misfortunate, I don't know what this is. It's a super popular series, so famous. Series of Unfortunate Events. There we go. It's like, it's got similar vibes to Series of Unfortunate Events, but not as sad as that series. And we're following siblings and they're trying to solve a mystery that is overarching throughout all of the books, but then have an individual mystery that they're trying to figure out in each individual book. Where am I putting these? Okay. All right. And then next is Here and Only Here by Christelle DeBose, which I have already read. This is YA contemporary fiction with a little bit of a speculative element. This takes place at a middle school, and this is by far one of the weirdest books I have ever read. Even though it takes place in a middle school, I would not recommend this for middle graders because the themes and topics that DeBose has in this book are definitely heavier and meant for an older audience. And it's just truly such a bizarre book. I can't even explain it. You just have to read it for yourself. All right, next, it's a series of arcs. I've really cut back on my arc consumption since my bookseller days, but this was my last impulse grab. So I have an arc of You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I have not read this yet. I know it's contemporary romance. I've heard it compared to When Harry Met Sally, and apparently it's Raylo fanfic, which I don't know. Hearing that was not good because now I'm not as interested in it as I was before. I got it because I was hearing about a bunch of buzz as it was coming out. I know Riley read it in a recent vlog and really liked it. So I'm hoping that the Raylo of it all won't disrupt my reading experience too much and that I can also really like this because I am definitely making it my mission this year to fall back in love with romance novels. I also have The Pomegranate Gate by Ariel Kaplan, and I have only seen Becca talk about this book. I haven't seen anybody else engage with it or say anything about it, and I grabbed it primarily because I saw Becca talk about it. I've heard it's like a historical fantasy. There might be a portal situation. I've heard it's good for people who like City of Brass, so there's some political intrigue as well. I really don't know anything about it other than that, but I think the cover is really pretty, and anything that's compared to City of Brass I'm going to read because that is one of my favorite fantasy books of all time, just in case you weren't clear. And then the last arc I have, yes, that's true, is Shark Heart, a love story by Emily Habik. This is another one I grabbed because two of my friends, one Instagram, one IRL, read this back when it first came out, and it was on their favorite books they read in 2023 lists. And it sounds weird and kooky. I believe it's lit fic, but I am hoping just the oddballness of this plot pulls me through, because lit fic and I don't always get along. But it's about a husband and wife whose husband is diagnosed with a condition where he is inexplicably turning into a great white shark. I don't know. It's weird. I'm into it. I hope I like it. I'm going to try and read that this month because I also have the audiobook from Libro FM. And then I also got volume 3 of Dinosaur Sanctuary. I feel like I've talked about this series so much. And if you watch my videos on a regular basis, you're probably so sick of hearing me talk about this manga. But I'm going to talk about it one more time. This is my favorite manga series so far. I mean, I'm pretty new to manga, but this series has just totally captured my heart. It's very cozy. It's this alternate world, alternate our world, where dinosaurs never went extinct, and in the 1940s some dinosaur species were discovered on this remote island, and then thanks to science there are now dino zoos all over the world. And in this series we're following a dino zoo in Japan that is struggling financially, and you're meeting all the dino keepers and all the different dinosaurs and seeing what the dino keepers are doing to try to promote public interest in their park. And I love it. I also got The Scratch Daughters by H.A. Clark. If you've watched my favorite books of the year video, which I'll link it down below if you want to see it, I talked briefly about this. This is book 2 in the Scape Gracers series, and this is a YA modern witchy story. I love it. It is unapologetically queer and loud, and I don't know, it sparks a thing in me that I think teenage Emily would have loved. And the final book for the series, by the way, comes out in March, and I am so excited. I'll probably be reading the whole series or the first 2 books, so that before I read book 3, because I'm just so excited. Next, we have quite a few sequels or continuations in a series. 2 I've read, 2 I have not. So the final installment of the Up and Under series, I don't remember if that's what it's called, came out. It's Under the Smoke-Strewn Sky by A. Deborah Baker, which is a pseudonym for Shauna Maguire. This is a fairy tale novella series that is based on a book that is mentioned in Middle Game. I liked it. I'm kind of sad the series is over. Though fairy tale stuff doesn't always work for me the way I want it to, but I do think it would be fun to read this whole novella series as one continuous story, because it really is written that way. But this are just nice little treats. I also got the next installment in Murderbot. This is System Collapse by Martha Wells. This wasn't my favorite Murderbot. This definitely picks up right after Network Effect, so I would read Network Effect and then dive right back in this one, because I had a hard time getting acclimated and remembering what had happened in Network Effect. Even though I had just read it or reread it a couple months prior, it really kind of threw me for a loop. But I mean, Murderbot is always going to be a good time. So when I say it's not my favorite in the Murderbot series, I mean it's like a 4 or a 4.25 versus a 5. So it's still a good time. It's just, you know, okay, sorry. My memory card's full. I think we're better now. All right, I also picked up the sequel to The House Witch. This is The House Witch 2. This is a cozy fantasy series. I read the first one a couple years ago and generally liked it quite a bit. This one is a lot shorter, and I'm really interested to see where we go with this one. But if you want cozy fantasy, lots of food content, a little bit of a romance situation, book 1 was really lovely. And then, I can't believe I haven't read this yet, I have A Power Unbound by Freya Marsk. This is the last book in the Marvelous Light series. Oh, the last Binding trilogy, which starts with The Marvelous Light. And I am very much putting this off now because I am worried that my expectations are too high. But the main character for this book has been a secondary character in the other series, or the other 2 books in the series, and then we met the love interest in A Relentless Truth. Oh my god, I was so into them as side characters in that book. So I'm probably too excited for this book, and that's why I keep putting it off. I have no idea what happens. I don't know the plot at all. I have an inkling based on what I know of these characters from the first 2 books, and there's an overarching mystery for the whole series, so we'll see. I'm nervous and excited. I also got into another manga. Volume 2 is in the stack somewhere, but I Want to Be a Wall. I feel like this is also one you've heard me talk about so much recently, so real quick, this is a manga series about an asexual woman and a gay man who enter into a modern day marriage of convenience, and it's very sweet and it's very cozy, and I absolutely love it so far. There's only 2 volumes out so far though. I also, of course, got volume 5 of Heartstopper, and I really loved this one. This is, Nick and Charlie, but Nick is trying to figure out what he wants to do for university, and it really forces Nick and Charlie to grapple with the codependency that comes with a high school relationship and what their future is going to hold. There's also a storyline with Tori, Charlie's older sister in this book, that I think was really lovely and made me cry. I also got 2 Olivia Atwater books. I bought The Witch Would Not, which is her newest release, which is a Victorian fairy tale. And then I asked for Half a Soul for Christmas because I've already read it and I loved it, but I didn't have a copy of it yet. And Half a Soul is the Regency fairy tales, and this one will be Victorian, which Victorian is definitely my preferred historical, fictional time frame. So I'm excited about that. The next 4 are Christmas presents as well. I have The Lord of Stariel by A.J. Lancaster. All I know about this book is that Talia Hibbert read it and loved it. That's all I know. I get her newsletter, and one of her newsletters in the fall talked about this book, so I put it on my list. I know nothing. I don't know. It's a fantasy. There must be a romance if Talia Hibbert was telling me to read it, so that's all I know, and I'm really excited to find out more. We have another book I've already read, The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Why is talking so hard today? The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry by C.M. Wagner. This is another book that I read ages ago and absolutely loved and didn't have a copy of. I really love C.M. Wagner's writing. She only has 2 books out, but I just love her sense of humor. They're both fantasy. They both have sapphic romances, and they're just absolutely delightful. I love them so much. I'm hoping to reread this relatively soon. And then my kids very kindly got me Fit for the Gods for Christmas. This is edited by Jen Northington and S. Zinaby Williams, who are the co-hosts for SFF Yeah, which is Book Riot's SFF podcast. And this are retellings of Greek mythologies, and the authors that contributed are, I'm not going to name all of them, but it's got Alyssa Cole, Zoraida Cordova, Sarah Gailey, Valerie Valdez, S. Zinaby Williams wrote a story in here, and they're all gender-bent, queered, race-bent, inclusive retelling. So I'm really excited for this, especially as my youngest has gone on their Greek mythology kick. I'm excited to read stories that are a little bit more gentle than actual Greek mythology is. And then my husband so sweetly got me the next installment in the Lady Trent series. He got me The Tropic of Serpents, so I can continue my journey, because I read the first one last year and absolutely loved it, and I'm really excited to see what else Lady Isabella gets up to. Speaking of sequels, if you watched my favorite books of 2023 list, you will know I finally read The Jasmine Throne, and it was one of my favorite books of the year. So I promptly picked up the sequel, The Oleander Sword. No, I haven't read it yet. Don't know why. I think I'm gonna have to do like a reading sequels video so I can prioritize all these sequels that I've picked up. But I absolutely love The Jasmine Throne. I loved Tasha Suri's writing style. I loved her character work. I'm so excited to continue with that story. Here we go. Okay, and then volume 2 of I Want to Be a Wall, which I won't talk about since I already kind of gave you the blurb with the first one. And I have the most recent installment in the Wayward Children series, Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Shannon McGuire. And I have read this already. I really liked it. Again, not my favorite in the series, but still a really enjoyable time. And it's one of my favorite series ever. And I have been drooling over the UK covers for Howl's Moving Castle for forever. So as a belated Christmas present to myself, I finally bought it from Blackwell's. It's so pretty. And of course I've read this a million times, but I am definitely now going to have to do a reread because I have to read my pretty new copy now that I have it, obviously. And then these two I just impulsively grabbed today. So I guess I didn't pay money for them. So my library is culling its YA collection, and so they are putting a lot of YA books out for free in front of the door. And I grabbed these two because I have the audiobooks on Libro FM, and I'm hoping by having a physical copy in the house, it helps me to prioritize listening to them because sometimes I just forget which audiobooks I have. I grabbed The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morris. I mostly delibraried them, but there's still some spots that I need to do more work on. I absolutely loved Slay. It was one of my favorite books of the year when it came out. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm really excited to read her next one, and I've been excited about reading it for a while. I just keep putting it off. And then I also got Stay Gold by Tobley McSmith. And I don't know a ton about this either, just like I said that I have the audiobook and I wanted to have the physical copy to remind me to read it. So there we go. That is my winter book haul. Thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me. I would love to hear all your thoughts, any thoughts about any of these books, because I have quite the stack and there are a fair amount of these that are unread, so that's fun. But anyways, thank you so much for being here and for spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here, let's do a house emoji. And I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye!